Hello everyone, welcome to Faith in Action, a program that is designed to help you to use your faith in an effective way and see big changes in your life. I'm going to talk to you about a really beautiful verse today that talks about when you have faith, when you have hope in God, it's like an anchor for your soul. It anchors you. It gives you a foundation. You don't move even though you have problems. Things turn out wrong. People around you are falling apart. But when you have faith, when you have hope in God, it's an anchor for your soul. It holds you in place. It gives you strength and security and protection. We're going to play you two testimonies today. And testimonies that, as usual, show the power of God and show us that miracles happen today. But I want to invite you for this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because it's here in Korea, it's Solal, the Korean New Year. And over these 4 days, we're going to pray for what is dead in your life to come back to life. We're going to call your problems out of the tomb. Like Jesus came to the tomb of Lazarus. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. And Jesus rolled the stone away and called out, "Lazarus, come out." And the man who had been dead for 4 days came out of the tomb. So over Solal, over the Korean New Year, we're going to be doing this. For 4 days, we're going to pray, symbolizing those 4 days that Lazarus was in the tomb. And we're going to pray for a problem, a situation in your life that is dead, that is impossible to come back to life. At the end of this program, we're going to make a prayer for you. So as usual, if you want to put your name and your problems underneath in the comments, feel free to. We're going to include you in our prayer. But the most important thing, especially for those of you in Korea, we invite you to these 4 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Right now, let's go to the testimonies. We're going to show you Mark, and then we're going to show you Jay and Vani. Let's go to them now.
So I first initially started coming to the church, broken family. So a single mum, me and my 3 brothers. My mum grew up alcoholic, addicted to drugs. My older brother's the same, so I didn't have no example at home. I started looking out elsewhere for an example. So secondary school, I started getting involved in the wrong area, in the wrong crowd. You know, I even ended up getting kicked out of my area. So in my borough, I got moved out into Essex because, you know, the trouble that I was getting into was just too much. So the police, they moved me out of the area. So that's how much I was coming. When I came to the church, I just came off tag as well, because I was constantly getting arrested. I had court cases. I saw, you know, some of my closest boys get stabbed. So I started rolling around, you know, with a knife. Started going with a knife, started going with weapons. I was getting arrested for having these weapons. But nothing was stopping me, you know, because people was kicking down my door. I remember I got beaten up in my house and they tried to kidnap my little brother. You know, people came to my house and attacked my mum. So I really came to the church messed up. Like, I didn't really have no vision in life. My vision was, you know, to be the best drug dealer. My vision was to have the most money illegally. Everything was just going downhill for me. There was no peace at home. There was no real example. You know, and people really wanted me dead. So I really came to the church seriously messed up. So I started coming to the church and everything was different. The environment was different. Everyone was really good to me. Everyone really helped me. You know, it was a good thing to get involved in, and it was quick for me to cut things off, like the selling drugs, the illegal stuff, all the illegal stuff I was doing, but I didn't really change inside. Inside of me, I didn't have that peace, even though I was in the church, and that's because I was coming to the church, but I didn't really surrender my life to God. You know, it was quick for me to say, it was quick for me to leave. I kept threatening to leave. I kept saying, "Oh, I've had enough, I've had enough. God isn't here for me, God isn't here for me." Because even though He'd done a lot for me, but there was still a lot of things inside that I didn't deal with. So that's what I ended up leaving. People would always say to me, you leave the church and your life becomes 7 times worse. But I used to always think, they're just saying this. But literally that was it. The person I was before, I became worse. A week after I left the church, I got stabbed 5 times. When I got stabbed, it put me into depression. The week after I came out of hospital, I tried to kill myself because what was going on in my mind was just too much. So like, even when I left the deep depression I went to, my family became homeless. We lost our house in Essex. The person I thought I would never be again, that I became when I left the church, is 100 times worse than the person that before I came to the church. The effect that had on me was, it's because you know the truth. You've been in the church, so you know the truth, you know what's wrong. But then when you get comfortable, it's like that conscience no longer speaks to you and it becomes numb. And once it becomes numb, there's nothing that can happen that can bring you back to your senses. So they invited me to come to this service, but I think there was a special service I'm going in the church. I hadn't been for a long time. No one heard of me. That's how I came. But I came to the service, I sat down and the bishop was talking, and he was talking about protection. But I was just like, he's just talking. So he was saying all this, God can protect you. You need to take this serious. If you don't come forward and get this prayer, God's protection is not there, kind of thing. I didn't go. Same night I was going home with my friends. I left my friend, 30 seconds later I turned the corner. Then a group of boys jumped out of the car. And these group of boys wasn't the people I had problems with before. So they came out the car and they beat me up. They ran off, left me. So I got into my aunt's and everything, my shirt was ripped, I had all cuts over my face, I was bleeding. My mum asked me what was wrong and I just collapsed in my house. And as I collapsed, everyone just started screaming. I couldn't move my entire body. It's like everything was just, I couldn't move. Only thing that was happening was just tears were coming out my eyes. My mum was crying, everyone was crying. My little brothers that are young saw me on the bathroom floor just laying down. And it was so bad that my mum even called one of the pastors and said, Mark's gonna die. I think this is it, Mark's gonna die. So I got rushed to hospital. Then I came out of hospital. I decided there and then I'm gonna go back to church, but I'm not gonna go back to church, I'm coming back to God. And that's when I returned to God. And when I returned into God, my life literally transformed now. I work in the city. I earn way more than my age. I earn the most in my family. I can now provide for my little brothers, my mum. We're no longer homeless. We have our own home that I pay for. I'm only 20 years old. I'm an example to everyone. People in my area that were also involved in all the life that I was involved in, the gangs and stuff, they look to me for an example. I mentor a lot of young children. I go into schools, I go into detention centres and I give my story as I'm giving here. And my family have also started coming to the church because they've seen a massive change in me and they've seen that my life totally transformed. And I have God inside of me. I think that's the most important thing because none of this was possible without God inside of me. As soon as I returned, there was no turning back. Everyone makes mistakes, everyone slips up, but there was no turning back. I went from strength to strength to strength. Nothing can get me down, nothing can ever make me feel I need to leave now because I remember what happened to me when I was outside and I'm never going to go back. Never going to go back there.
I was so heavily burdened with many problems, coming from financial problems, but I also had depression that was affecting me. 10 years I was on medication. So when I came and I started attending the meetings and I saw changes in my life, I could see that I started to sleep when I could not sleep for 10 years. And I could see that I do not need to take medication anymore. I was on my own naturally, could sleep without it. So seeing all these changes in my life, I did not hesitate any moment. My wife, who I met, and we got married, and I invited her to the church.
Things was not going very smoothly. We had lots of problems. But the reason why I started coming with him is basically because he was coming to church and I started to come with him. When I came to the help center, I didn't actually think that I had any problem. Even though I had so many problems, I just thought, well, it's just another church.
And I know that it was going to be a bit difficult and she would be hesitant at the beginning because we both were in religions, we were Hindus before. We have been grown up with rituals, traditions, but saying that I have seen those changes in my life and she could as well take the opportunity in it.
I started hearing about testimonies of people who had problems that was worse than mine, and they were getting solution for it. So then I learned that, okay, I don't need to live with these problems. They can go away. So that's when I started to actually participate. But I have to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't really think that it was gonna work for me. Maybe it did work for other people, but it's not really gonna work for me. But while attending, I started to have vision for my life. I started to have hope that things can change, and I started to work towards it. And bit by bit, by putting in practice what I was learning, things actually did start changing.
So when she came, she had her personal problems. She had depression as well, and she was unhappy. And our marriage was not going well. So she got help as well. And that's why she became interested and her life started changing.
I'm no longer depressed. I don't have low self-esteem. I'm quite confident in myself. I'm working as a manager. Before, I couldn't even dream of working anywhere. I'm happily married now, so my marriage that wasn't working, and we had constant arguments. I was even thinking that maybe it would be better if we separate. My marriage is now working. We are very happy together. We have a beautiful daughter. She's gonna be 10 soon. So my life has totally been transformed.
And now we are both assistant in the church and willing to help others. So now we all are in the church, in this place where we have been receiving help.
Hello Bishop, hello everyone. We are here to comment a little bit about this powerful testimony from Mark. He was a young guy, 20 years old, but his life was a mess. When he came to the church, we are here talking about miracle in this program. Miracle, life-changing, blessings. But when he came to the church, he saw the power of God. He said, my life in some areas was changing. He was free. He got free because when he came to the church, he was drug addicted. He was involved with a lot of crimes, illegal issues, problems. His life was a mess. But when he came to the church, he started to see changes in some areas. But his life wasn't changed completely. He didn't get a peace in his heart. He didn't change here, inner change. You know why? Because he didn't surrender his life completely to God. You can watch with me a small clip. He is speaking about this. Watch with me.
Inside of me, I didn't have that peace, even though I was in the church. And that's because I was coming to the church, but I didn't really surrender my life to God. It was quick for me to say, it was quick for me to leave. I kept threatening to leave. I kept saying, oh, I've had enough, I've had enough. God isn't here for me, God isn't here for me. Because even though He'd done a lot for me, but there was still a lot of things inside that I didn't deal with.
So you saw Mark saying that his life wasn't totally transformed. He even left the church because he didn't got peace within him. He left the church. And his life was like 5 times worse the life he was living before he came to the church. 5 times worse. So when he came to the church, he realized after suffering with a lot of problems, without God, in this dead life he was living, in the messy life he was living, he realized, I need God. I know the way. I know the word of God. I know what I need to do. I need to surrender my life. I need to give my life. So he realized, he understood what he needed to do. So he came back to the church. He gave all his life to God. He surrendered all his life. He go all the way with him, with God. And his life was totally transformed. Today he is free. His life was changed. He is a new man. A new man. So if you want to receive life, if you want to come out, to live this life we're living right now, suffering, dead life, if you want to receive life, so use your faith, believe, and surrender your life to God. Come to the church, join us, and I'm sure your life will change, okay? So now you go to Pastor Bruno, and he's going to explain about another beautiful and powerful testimony, okay? May God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor Diego, for talking about Mark's testimony for us. And I would like to talk about this couple's testimony we just watched, because we could see that when they got to church, they had a lot of problems, marriage problems, they had financial problems, both of them. They had depression for a long time, and it's beautiful how their life today is totally transformed, how their lives changed, how their life got much better, and even they are helping other people. But I would like to play a clip for you of what this woman said, because it's something that maybe many people that are, even though they're coming to church, they think like that. And it's not a healthy thought for you to have. Let's watch with me right now.
I started hearing about testimonies of people who had problems that was worse than mine, and they were getting solution for it. So when I learned that, okay, I don't need to live with these problems, they can go away. So that's when I started to actually participate. But I have to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't really think that it was gonna work for me. Maybe it did work for other people, but it's not really gonna work for me.
So we could see that even though she was coming to church, she was watching testimonies, she was seeing people's lives transformed. And like we always play in this program and other programs, like we have 3 programs each night, and I even encourage you to watch the programs we have, for you to watch the testimonies, for you to watch people's lives being transformed. She was also watching that in the church when she got to the church. But she didn't believe that God could do the same to her life. She didn't believe that her marriage problem, her depression, or any other problem she had, financial, could be solved. And if you are in the church, or if you are watching us right now and you think the same way, so right now, get rid of this thought, because this thought is poison to your faith. This thought can kill your faith. This thought can destroy your faith. And for God to change you, He just needs you to use your faith. Both of them had a long time depression. And depression for medicine is something that is incurable. You have just to have treatments, you have just to drink medicine, try to get better. But us, we are calling people that has depression to be healed in 3 minutes. We are calling people that are sick to be healed. We are calling people that had a lot of debts and financial problems to be business owner, to have their life transformed. Doesn't matter your problem, doesn't matter how long you're suffering. There is a way out for you, like there was a way out for this couple, even though they didn't think, or this woman didn't think their life could change. There is a way out for you. So right now, if you have a problem or something like that, write down your name on the comments. If you're comfortable, write also your problem there, because we are going to include you in this prayer at the end of the program. And right now, we are going to Bishop. He's going to talk a little bit more about what happened, the change and the transformation that we saw in those testimonies. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor Bruno, Pastor Diego. Right now, I want to show you again a small part of Mark's testimony and Vani's testimony, of the part where they were beginning to change, when they were beginning to see the power of God in their life. Both of these testimonies are very, very powerful. This couple and this young man. Because before they came to the church, before they began to use their faith, their lives were destroyed. At one time, Mark was stabbed 5 times. He was involved in crime. He was involved in drugs. He was always getting into fights. They were living in poverty. They were homeless. So, and he changed his life. And then Jay and Vani, they were a couple that were very unhappy. They were always fighting, always arguing. She had a serious depression, serious problems in her life. And so When a person is depressed, or in fact both of them were depressed. So if two people in a marriage are depressed, how are they going to have a happy marriage? There's no way forward for their life. Watch this again. Let's watch Mark, and then right after I'm going to show you Vani. Watch this now.
And when I returned into God, my life literally transformed now. I work in the city. I earn way more than my age. I earn the most in my family. I can now provide for my little brother with my mum. We're no longer homeless. We have our own home that I pay for. I'm only 20 years old. I'm an example to everyone. People in my area that were also involved in all the life that I was involved in, the gangs and stuff, they look to me for an example. I mentor a lot of young children. I go into schools, I go into detention centres, and I give my story as I'm giving here. My family have also started coming to the church because they've seen a massive change in me, and they've seen that my life totally transformed. And I have God inside of me.
I'm no longer depressed. I don't have low self-esteem. I'm quite confident in myself. I'm working as a manager. Before, I couldn't even dream of working anywhere. I'm happily married now, so my marriage that wasn't working, and we had constant arguments. I was even thinking that maybe it would be better if we separate. My marriage is now working. We are very happy together. We have a beautiful daughter. She's gonna be 10 soon. So my life has totally been transformed.
So you see that when Mark got serious about his faith, after that really traumatic episode where he was even trying to kill himself, when he really gave his life to Jesus, everything changed. This young man is supporting his whole family. This young man is working in a really good job for his age. He's blessed, he's strong, his life has been completely transformed. He said that his whole family is coming to the church because they've seen a massive change in his life. He's gotten rid of the crime and the drugs and the violence and the fighting, and now young men in his neighborhood look to him as an example of someone who can help them. So this kind of change can happen in your life too. And also, Vani said that she's working as a manager now, something she couldn't even dream of doing before. She couldn't dream of working before. She was so sick, she was so depressed, her life was so difficult. So this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday coming up, it's the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tuesday is Solal here in South Korea, the Korean New Year. We are going to pray for these 4 days. Powerful prayer. We're going to call out to your problem. You're going to do it too. We're going to speak to what is in the tomb, what is in the grave, the situation that's in the cemetery already. It's impossible, that's dead, that's finished. And we're going to call it back to life again. Your marriage, your health, your finances, your spiritual life, whatever it is that seems to be dead, something in your life that is just pulling you down and destroying your life, we're going to determine that it's going to turn around completely. And this couple, Jay and Vani and Mark, they are proof that this can happen. They were basically in the tomb. Parts of their lives were dead, but they came back to life. They're completely different right now. So the same thing is going to happen in your life. We're determining that in these 3 days. Lazarus was in the tomb for 4 days. A person that's been in the tomb for 4 days, they're definitely dead. Over 4 days, a person's body starts to decay. There's nothing left. But when Jesus called him out, rolled the stone away and called him, the dead man came to life, and in an instant, his body was made new again. So, I don't know how your problem is going to change. I don't know what problem you're going through. But one thing I know, if you have an impossible problem, if something in your life has died, if you believe in God, you can bring it back to life again. And we're going to do that right now because we believe in a new year, a new life. If you don't want to be stuck in the same problems anymore, we call you to do this. Let me read this verse for you. This verse is in the book of Hebrews, and it says, "We who have fled to him for refuge can have great confidence as we hold to the hope that lies before us." So it says we can have great confidence. This hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for our souls. When you believe in God, when you have faith in God, when you believe in what God promises, that's an anchor, a strong and trustworthy anchor for your soul. So your emotions are not going to be all over the place. You're not going to be depressed. You're not going to be afraid. You're going to have an anchor for your soul. And it leads us through the curtain into God's inner sanctuary, into God's presence. So I want you to feel God's presence. I want you to have this great confidence. I want your soul to have an anchor, a strong and trustworthy anchor, so that you're not aimlessly roaming around and lost in your life and confused and frustrated. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Sola, where we're going to call what is dead back to life, from death to life. All right? We invite you to come. Those of you who are not here in Korea, many of you're in a country where you are celebrating the Lunar New Year also. So have this faith. Go to church and determine that you're going to see a change in your life. But here in Korea, it's 4 days going from death to life. Let me make a quick prayer for you. My God, I, Pastor Bruno, Pastor Diego, who are here behind the camera, we bless these people right now. We bless everyone who is watching this program. I determine no one who is watching this program is going to be the same. All of you right now are changing. And those of you who are coming to these 4 days, these are going to be days that change your life. You will not be the same. You will not be the same person. You're going to be transformed, just like these 2 testimonies we saw today. Be blessed right now. In Jesus' name, amen. We don't need a long prayer to be blessed. We just need faith. We just need to believe. We just need to be determined that God is with us, that our life is changing. So please contact us, call us, get in touch with us, write in the comments below. And if you are outside of Korea, let us know. We'll put you in contact with the nearest help center. If you're here in Korea, come and join us. We have meetings in Ansan, in Hwangok-dong, in Itaewon, and in Hyeowa, up in Seoul. All right? God bless. We'll see you this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. God bless. Bye-bye.